Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Nathan. I'm back after a little break. I hope everybody is doing well, staying safe. We're in March. I can't believe that. Um, Man, a lot has happened since you last saw me. I think last time you saw me was last week. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those days last week. Um, Decided to take a little break the weekend, so I didn't go live Friday. I do apologize for that. And I was supposed to go live last night, but unfortunately, I had some major technical difficulties, so I just said, forget it. I'm just not going to go live. Um, so this is going to be an intro. This is going to be part one to a lengthy episode that we're going to get into today. This part, we're just going to recap. I'm going to do a little tribute to Katie Meyer, who was a goalie for the University of Stanford in California. Sadly, committed suicide on campus. So I want to send my thoughts and prayers to her and her family. And then also to the Wizards play tonight. They play Los Angeles Clippers. So I got to talk about that. Got to get a little context into the Clippers this evening. And then the rest of the episode, we're going to talk about Maryland basketball. I got an announcement about the mock draft 2.0, my WNBA mock draft 2.0. We're going to continue the conversation we had in the previous episode regarding the charting flights for the WNBA because Kathy Engelbert came up with some interesting statements. And then also, too, something else happened with that as well. And then got to talk about it. Brittany Griner got arrested Friday and didn't really hear about anything. And she's been detained over there in Russia for now going almost a month now. So, and we're just finding out about this, which is scary. I'm hoping she's doing well. But we're going to talk about that. NFL, some things did happen. The Washington Commanders traded for Carson Wentz. They're going to take them for a package of picks. And Washington is also going to take on the remaining of his $28 million deal of his contract. So we're going to talk about that. But in this episode, we're just going to strictly focus on talk about the Wizards, and I'm going to do a little tribute for Katie Meyer. So let's just get into it. Got to send my thoughts and prayers to Katie's family. Turco life on campus, and was sad to hear that. Played goalie, Pac-12 for the University of Stanford. We found this out, it was about Friday when I heard about it. I had planned to go live, but I just was not. I didn't want to say anything without having all the details. So they were on the Today Show, which was last Friday, and it was her mother and her dad, and they said that she had died by suicide. And they said, and I remember when they were on the Today Show, they said they didn't notice any red flags. And there was a quote here that I wanted to read. So this was from the vice president of Student Affairs, and also to the Janquist Kerrigan directors of athletics. And I quote, Katie was extraordinarily committed to everything and everyone in her world. Stanford Athletics wrote in a news release signed by Susie Bark Baker Cole, Vice Provost for Student Affairs, and Bernard Muir, the Janquist and Kerrigan directors of athletics. Her friends described her as larger-than-life team player in all her pursuits, from choosing an academic discipline. She changed my life. She changed my perspective on the world and the very important challenges that we need to work together to overcome, to the passion she brought to the Cardinals women's soccer program and to women's sports in general. Fierce competitor, Katie made 2 crucial saves in a penalty shootout against North Carolina to help win Stanford's 3rd NCAA women's soccer championship in 2019. Katie was a shining light for so many on the field and in our community. I just want to send my thoughts and prayers to her family. It's, man, that's tough. It really is. That's why, for me, I'm a believer of just check on check on people, love your friends, loved ones. It doesn't have just send them a text. Just a quick, hey, how are you doing? Just want to check on you, make sure you're okay, because you just don't know what a person's going through. I've shared my personal struggles a couple of times here on this channel, and I have my days, but I'm someone that believes in the power of prayer. I'm also the person that believes in that you got to take it one day at a time, and there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be people. There's going to be situations that may get you where you feel like you're overwhelmed. And I just, man, it hurts. It really does. So, I mean, look, and if again, anyone that you may know that's having the thoughts of wanting to commit suicide, please give the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline a call. The number right here on the screens, is 800-273-8255. It's sad. You could be in front of thousands of people and smile from ear to ear. Behind closed doors, people just don't know what you go through on the daily basis. It's tough, and it's hard for some people to really speak to really talk about what they're going through, because I know it's not all, but some of us, some in society, come from this perspective of, well, what do you have to be so depressed about? What do you have to be X, Y, and Z? It's not easy for people. It's not easy for all of us to open up about things we go through in life. So, I just thought it would be appropriate to just play a little clip from that game with Katie winning the game for Stanford. So, rest in peace, Katie. Wait, hold on.
As we get set to roll the ball out one more time in 2019 and get set to crown our national champion. Brianna Pinto, one of the leading scorers for the Tar Heels this season, takes her shot. Oh, what a save! Boy, did she own that moment. Haley headed it down. Sophia Smith hits the crossbar. Otto can't get it. Saved by Meyer. Macario hits it. Offensive category now, and does. Freshman for North Carolina who has it saved. She's got it. Stanford has won their second national championship in the last 3 years, and the Cardinal are the queens of college soccer once again.
Rest in peace, Katie. We're going to transition into the NBA. The Washington Wizards, we're playing those Los Angeles Clippers. With this episode, with the Clippers and the Wizards, we're coming off a win against the Indiana Pacers, where Kristaps Porzingis shocked me. He gave me 25 points in his return on the court. We lost. When was it? It was last Friday against the Hawks. We lost 117-114 in that game. But it was great to see Porzingis back. There's a rumor going around that John Wall would be open to coming back to DC, which he should still be here. Makes absolutely no sense to me. In that game against the Pacers, Kuzma had 23 points, even though we let Brogdon have 27. Biggest thing I took away from that was in the third and fourth quarter, Washington looked pretty damn good. The game was closer. Again, like I said, the biggest thing is hitting shots, playing defense, and that's something we did. Even though the game I was surprised that it was that close, but it was great to see him back out there. His first bucket, it was Kuzma giving him a lob. So I'm not mad at that. 25 points, 5 rebounds. He looked good in that game against the Pacers. Now, we're playing a Clipper team that still doesn't have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard. Now, Kawhi Leonard is starting to – I think he just started doing non-contact practice. So some people probably come back around. I doubt it. He'll probably come back around the playoffs, but we'll see. Now, we're 12-17 on the road, okay? But ironically, we're second in the East when it comes to scoring in the paint. I think it's around 50 points per game, okay? Now, the Clippers are obviously a better home team. They're 19-14. The last 14 games, those 14, they're 10-4 when the game is decided by like 3 or less points. Now, the last time we saw these guys was when they came back from a 35-point deficit.
Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Amir Coffey had 29 points in that game. Luke Kennard had the go-ahead winning bucket. The final score in that game was 116-115. Reggie Jackson, whose average is obviously probably I'd say the third best player, averaging about 17 a game. Marcus Morris is averaging about 15. Those two are going to be kind of the go-to guys we got to contain, especially Reggie Jackson, because he went off against the Lakers a couple nights ago. Can't let that happen. Kyle Kuzma's averaging about 17. KCP's averaging about 17 as well. Last 10 games, both. Actually been playing consistently being pretty well. Okay? I just want to point this fun fact. Washington, we're 500. If you look at the stats, we're giving up 114 points against our opponents. Shooting from the field has been better these last 10 games, about under 50%. The assists have been up. The rebounds are about the same. But we shouldn't be allowing our opponents to give – we can't give at least 115 points like that. That can't happen. Now, the Clippers don't have, like I said, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I don't think Norman Powell's going to play. Covington, they say he's on a personal leave. There was 2 other guys. We all know Bradley Beal's out for the year, and then Vernon Casey Jr. is day-to-day with the hip injury. Now, the Wizards should win this game. They should. Because I'm hoping that they can start off the West Coast trip on a good note. Because we finished our homestand, we went 2-1. That's not bad. But I'm looking for the same thing. We could be consistent with the Wizards. Got to hit shots. Got to play defense. And I like I'm starting to notice that the offense is somewhat starting to gel just a little bit. But I like that center Ransky's back, brings defense. The only thing that they're missing, and again, we're going to have to unfortunately talk about it at some point, is Bradley Beal. I really feel like it's best to move on from him. It's nothing personal against him. I just feel like the Wizards were not going to go anywhere with him. And I'm all for being loyal to a team, but if we're not building around him the proper way, we're going to now year 4. Nothing's getting better. Then there's rumors he could go to Philadelphia. What's the point? But the Washington Wizards will beat the Los Angeles Clippers. I'm looking along the lines of 112-107.
Guarantee.
I felt good to press that guarantee after a few days. And that they by default should win this game. They should. Let's see who else they play on this West Coast trip. I can't remember. I know this the Clippers today. Then we got the Lakers Friday. Then Portland Saturday. It's going to be a mess. And then we got Golden State Monday. Then we're back home against Denver. Go back on the road to New York. Back home against LA. This is a weird schedule. We're home away, way home. just weird. Just weird. So if the playoffs started today, the Wizards are 2 games behind Atlanta. The play-in 7 through 10, because Atlanta right now is 31-33, and we're 29-34. Atlanta is also 500 in the last 10 games. At this point, I'm just going to call it the Miami Heat will win the East.
Guarantee.
44-22. I mean, Milwaukee could catch them. They're about 3 games, and so could Philadelphia. But I'm actually surprised that, Lonzo's not there for Chicago. They've and Alex Caruso's not there. But DeMar DeRozan, he should be in the MVP conversation. I like it for Boston. I like the additions of Derek White. I think that was a good pickup. And they got Daniel Tice back. So I like that. Jared Allen's going to be out for a minute after he fractured his finger. So I don't think that'll hurt the Cavs. I think that'll take away some momentum. And then I know Fred VanVleet, he's out with an injury. Brooklyn's right there. They're the 8th seed. They're 500. And then Charlotte's right there behind them. So, you know what? I'm still going to hold out hope. I'm going to say the Washington Wizards are going to be in the play-in games.
Guarantee.
I can see that because I can't see because the way it's kind of constructed. From understanding, Kyrie Irving, if they lift the mandates, he still can't play home games, which makes absolutely no sense. That's weird. And Kevin Durant, he can't do it all by himself. I can't see it. I'm going to really I want to go out on a limb, but I don't. I can see Brooklyn not making the playoffs. I could, but I could be wrong. I think they're going to stay around the 7th, 8th. They're going to be in the play-ins, but everybody else is. The Detroit and Orlando, they might fire Dwayne Casey after this year, and I feel bad for Dwayne Casey, a coach of the year. And you expect him to turn around and change that. But okay. Let's see. Phoenix, they're going to lock up the 1st seed. That's a given. Memphis, they're 45-22. I think when they get Draymond, when Golden State, they're 44-22. When they get Draymond back, he's supposed to be back around tomorrow. I think when everybody gets back healthy, I think they're going to be good. I just think right now with the injuries, and I think that you can see that's taken away some of the dynamics for Golden State. Utah's right there around them, 40-24. Dallas, 40-25. Now I got to give the Denver Nuggets. I got to give Nikola Jokic some love. Without Jamal Murray, He's carrying that Nuggets team. And they're still around the fifth seed. He's one of my MVP candidates. And then the Timberwolves, they're right there. They're 37-29. The Clippers, you got to give them credit, Ty Lue credit. Without Paul George and Kawhi, there's not a score that's averaging 20 points in that game. And that says a lot about Ty Lue and what he's the intertwining of pieces he's putting together. So you got to give them credit. And then the Lakers, we're going to talk about that tonight because I don't want to waste any time on that because Russell Westbrook, there's some things I want to talk about with him on that. And they're right there actually too. They're 28-36, and the Pelicans are 27-38. That's just how the play-ins will go. But for the rest of the episode, for this part 2, we're going to talk about the NFL. My focus for the offseason focus will be the AFC East. That's the New England Patriots, Buffalo Bills, New York Jets, and the Miami Dolphins. Okay, then we're going to talk about the recent things that happened. Russell Wilson got traded to the Denver Broncos. Does that make Denver a legitimate Super Bowl contender? We're going to talk about that in part 2. Carson Wentz getting traded to Washington. My thoughts on how I feel about that. Aaron Rodgers getting supposedly a $200 million 4-year extension with the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to talk about that as well in part 2. Then there's some other stuff. I'm going to give an announcement on my NFL mock draft. We're 50 days as of today from the NFL draft. So be tuned in for that. We're at day 99 of the Major League Baseball strike. We're going to talk about that in just a bit. And then in part 2 of that episode, Maryland basketball, I have to recap Minnesota and Maryland. The men's, we played Minnesota, we won. And then Michigan State, we lost. So we have to play Michigan State tomorrow in the Big Ten tournament. We're the 10th seed and the 7th seed. And then I had the Lady Terps Friday. That's why also you didn't see me Friday. We painfully lost to Indiana. And then I have an announcement about March Madness. And then we're going to talk about Towson Basketball, the WNBA, free agency. I'd say it was a pretty good damn trade yesterday. The Dallas Wings traded for Tierra McCowan. And then we got to talk about Brittany Griner. We're going to talk about that. I have an announcement for mock draft, for my WNBA mock draft 2.0 in part 2 as well. We're going to revisit the WNBA and charting flights. There was Kathy Engelbert came up with some more conversation about it. And then that's going to be part 2. So definitely tune in tonight. I'm going to change the thumbnails because this was supposed to be last night's episode, but I decided to do just a part 1. This is just considered the introduction to part 2. But be tuned in for the rest of the episode this evening. I will see y'all. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. Staying dry. Where I'm at, it's raining. Had a couple days where it was warm. Definitely felt like it was spring. I think got a little too carried away. But then you hear it's supposed to be snowing and raining. So hope everyone's staying safe. Enjoy the rest of your work day. And I will see y'all this evening for part 2. Going to go live about at 10:30. So be tuned in for that. I will see y'all then. Peace out, y'all.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.